Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? So we going into part three of this Godfrey Higgins Anacalypsis Volume One. This book right here. Before we jump into it, I always got to give a shout out to my little homie, Lil Vibe. Yo, his music is dope. Like I'm gonna be honest with y'all. You know, I grew up in the '80s. I'm an '80s baby, and of course, I grew up in the '90s and so on and so forth. But you know, listening to music from the time that I was born all the way to right now, you know, you can only listen to the same thing so much before you're like, hey, what is out there that's new? And I can tell you right now, Lil Vibe is. And I can tell you, um, when I published my book, I made number one in so many different categories. And I published my book January 17th, and it's January 23rd of 2025 right now. And I can say that I have reached number one in many different categories, and that to me feels good. I don't know how many other people. Let me check something real quick. Yeah, there we go. It's working. I got to check audio. You know what I'm saying? Because one man running this, and you know what I'm saying. I got to make sure that. But anyway, I made number one in many categories, and I can say that's an accomplishment. You know, I served in the military. You know, I did my time in the service, and I did it honorably. I got wounded, got medically retired, and you know, for years I was trying to figure out what can I do after that? What am I able to do? What can I contribute? What can I offer? What can I do to keep my mind busy? That's when I started picking up reading books. You know what I'm saying? Picking books up. You know what I'm saying? Picking the books up. You know what I'm saying? Picking up books, you know what I'm saying? I got dictionaries, you know, so I got books everywhere, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to say that this was a time that I needed something to help me, because I can tell you right now, I'm gonna give y'all something a little personal about me. I was wounded in combat in Afghanistan. Ever since I was wounded, I have poor blood flow to the right side of my brain, and I get about 36 to 38 different shots of Botox around my head for headaches, because I have really bad headaches. Um, I get really sensitivity to light, sound, and stuff like that. I have a moderate traumatic brain injury, basically. And at night, I'm not able to sleep. So there's periods of time where I'm up for at least 22 hours a day. Okay. I only probably get maybe 1 or 2 hours of sleep. And I'm not even joking. And I spend that time reading, researching, sharing what I've learned, you know, joining spaces on X, and, you know, joining Clubhouse and stuff like that. And I have these discussions and I try to do what I can do. And it's only because I don't have nothing else to do with my life except read. I can do a whole bunch of other stuff, but my mind and the way I operate is not the same like it was before I got wounded. So I have to occupy my mind in something that I feel like is interesting to me. And history has always been a passion. And I've always been the type to fight. That's why I served in the US military, and that's why I'm a combat wounded Purple Heart recipient. I was always a fighter. Ever since I was a little kid, I mean, I fought for everything. I fought for what I believed in, basically. And if you ask me my personal opinion of what I believe in, I can share it with you. I know I share all kinds of other stuff, but I never shared I never, let me make sure that that is said correctly. I never shared my opinion based on all of what I know. I can share you my opinion based on what the subject we know at hand, because the best thing that I like to do is I like to know a subject well enough to where if somebody tries to play chess with me, I am one step ahead of them, knowing that what they're trying to do, meaning that I can argue my point based off of my knowledge and still come around back to what I say with facts and not fiction and actual what is shared. Because what I say, what is actually shared, I say from what I have actually read. Okay. Not what I went to a YouTube channel or watched through a watched documentary, but what I've actually read Then on top of that, let me make something very clear. Not that I've just read, but you see all those tabs in the book that I own that I'm about to talk about. Why we are on part 3 of this is because these are the tabs that I have. Like I said, so many different times. Most people that I know, um, they don't they either highlight or underline what's in their book, meaning that they have to go through each and every page and say, "Oh, I found this interesting." I don't have to do that. For one, every book that I own in my library, I've read at least 3 times. Every book that I own in my library, I've read at least 3 times. Every book, I'm say that one more time, that I own, I've read at least 3 times. At least 3 times. Okay? I also go back, and this is part of why I call it what I've learned from reading this book series, is going back and refreshing my memory from all the tabs that I've read, and I'm sharing that with you guys now. So it's not what I know what's fact. It's not what I know is as fiction. What I know is right, what is right and is wrong. It's what I've read. Okay. Everybody wants to seem like they're smart. I was told I was dumb all my life, long, big part of my life. But being dumb, it's okay. I don't care. Call me what you want. But I'm telling you, when I pick up the book and I say, hey, what this person says, this, that, and the third, what is your thoughts? And you tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm asking you a question based off what I've read. This is a book from 1836. Godfrey Higgins. He researched and read and shared what he learned for 6 to 10 hours a day. For the latter part of his life, he did it for 10 hours a day. Well, this, of course, is a time during when we don't have Twitter, social media, any kind of electronic, so on and so forth. I don't have to even play stupid for anybody because I don't have to insult anybody's intelligence. But we know back in 1836, there wasn't much way of us sharing knowledge except writing it down and talking to the person. So let's go to chapter 4. Okay, it's actually, let me rephrase that. It's chapter 6. I'm sorry, book 6, chapter 4, section 1. Now, this book is broken up in parts. When people say, I've read this many books, if you read the Holy Bible a couple of times a year, you're going to, depending on whichever Bible you read, is going to be over 66 to more books of a year. Because guess what? The Bible is not just one book. It is of many books. But before we start this chapter, I got to play this song, Levels, because I'm going to tell you there's levels to this shit. And I know that there's frequencies and people have chakras and understandings and all this other stuff. Don't be fooled by the frequency and the sound that you hear. People can corrupt your mind with that. I don't know if you know that or not, but I can definitely corrupt your mind using 432 hertz frequency, even though that's one of the best ways to meditate. Meditation doesn't mean that you're in the right. It just means that you become one with yourself. Okay. Evil is one with yourself. Meditating on evil can bring evil things. So let's not forget that when you come up to the idea, when you think that you know about what chakras are and Hebrew letters and different frequencies and so on and so forth, you think you know what you know. Understand this. I'm telling you, frequencies can definitely be used against you. Don't be fooled. That's why it's always been good to hear a soft voice, but corruption comes behind it. That's why a lot of people are fooled, because something sounds nice to you and you agree with it, and now you're fooled. But we're gonna get to the levels of this. Hopefully this plays. I'm gonna be making sure the audio works in the background. But let's not forget, I'm telling you, frequencies can corrupt you. Chakras can corrupt you. If you know how to play the game knows how to play you. Okay? There's no way that you can win when you're playing a game. The game is after you. The game is against you. Understand that when it comes to the idea of understanding whatever it is you're trying to understand, you can counter it. That's why we have the yin and the yang. Let's go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Hey. Come on. Hitting new levels, so come on the bezel, the nine on the iron, the rock heavy metal. What? Yeah. Hitting new levels, so come on the bezel, the nine on the iron, the rock heavy metal. Whoa. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. Hitting new levels, so come on the bezel, the nine on the iron, the rock heavy metal. Whoa. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Hitting new levels will come on the bezel, the nine on the iron, the rock heavy metal, the fire and the power. I grind by the hour. We working on building the whole damn empire. The sounds in the stars, mine is on Mars. Nigga like Tesla, lightning bars. Got broke, man, I'ma go hard. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Need a big pain, man, need to go yard. Living high fashion in the last days. I don't give a damn, man, let him eat cake. I don't give a damn what a hater gon' say. Hard to see an ass who got a fool getting paid. Getting revenue every time, make a wave. Red up like the water, cause we making these waves. Red up like the water with a game like slaughter. Really on my mind, live, I be around high. Laughing to the bay while I'm stacking all these dollars. Getting real high while I'm blowing that's la la. Putting numbers on the board like it was a high. Praying to the pancake like it was a high. Got the studio doing numbers like a trap house. In the backwoods, been in corners with the strap out. Hitting new levels will come on the bezel, the nine on the iron, the rock heavy metal, the fire and the power. I grind by the hour. We working on building a whole damn empire. The signs and the stars, mine is on Mars. Nigga like Tesla, lightning bars. Ain't down broke, man, I'ma go hard. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Need a big pain, man, need a big fall. Need a big broom shake, make it go boom. Abracadabra, I light up the room. Bury the written, I leave it in tune. Wetting my whistle while humming this tune. Hitting the high notes just like it's a fluke. Take the mask off, I'ma do what it do. Stacking the stacks like it's Scooby to do. Blowing the day like it's Pepe Le Pew. Up in my whip, got that pew pew pew. Said to me, quick, get that COD2. This time around, disobeying the rules. Writing some new ones and breaking cocoons. Smoking papaya, it look like cartoons. Off of the Zoom while I'm talking on Zoom. Hitting new levels, the chrome on the bezel, the nine on the iron, the rock heavy metal, the fire and the power. I grind by the hour. We working on building a whole damn empire. The signs and the stars, mine is on Mars. Nikola Tesla, lightning bars. Ain't down broke, man, I'ma go hard. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Hitting new levels, the chrome on the bezel, the nine on the iron, the rock heavy metal, the fire and the power. I grind by the hour. We working on building a whole damn empire. The signs and the stars, mine is on Mars. Nikola Tesla, lightning bars. Ain't down broke, man, I'ma go hard. Need a big house, big watch, big car. Need a big house, big watch, big car. This the last verse, no, I'ma go hard. Gripping this mic while dropping these bars. Got the double R, ain't talking Rick Ross. Talking Rolls Royce while I'm drinking my boss. Got massage seats, they massaging my balls. I got no limits, cause love is the law. Everything else is just more facade. Like I tell like it's versions and Sparta. With the line king, I had Kuna Matata. Making a way for my wife and my daughter. Heart that got colder from all of the trauma. I'm really numb, feeling just like a monster. Auto suggestion, I'm on autopilot. Blowing the green just like it was vomit. Without my dogs, like ballers with vomit. Hitting new levels of come on the bezel, the nine on the iron, the rock heavy metal, the fire and the power. I grind by the hour. We working on building a whole damn empire. The signs and the stars, mine is on Mars. Nigga like Tesla, lightning bars. Ain't down broke, man, I'ma go hard. Need a big house, big watch, big car.
Y'all heard that. That's a little vibe. Most of y'all know who that is. Y'all, if y'all on X, formerly known as Twitter, y'all know who Lil Vibe is because we support each other. You know, he got a Midnight in LA, album coming soon. He had somebody pass away in his camp, so shout out to Axel. Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? But, we got to support each other because, Lil Vibe is a verified artist. It don't take nothing to go out there and support somebody. So go out there and support that man. All right? Because I listen to him. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to make a video one day, right? I'm going to be in my cowboy hat with my cowboy boots on with my little, jeans on and my shirt, my earrings on, my hat, what I'm saying? Music bumping. I'm gonna have Lil Vibe right there bumping in them subs that I have under them seats, you know what I'm saying? Because I have 2 car seats of kids, a 6 and a 7-year-old in the back seat, but I got 2 10s under their seats because we ain't riding on no factories. We ride and bumping. So when we ride and we bumping Lil Vibe. Just giving a shout out to him. But let's go ahead and get into this. Like I said, this is part 3 of Godfrey Higgins Anacalypsis Volume 1. It's an attempt to draw aside the veil of the Saitic Isis, or an inquiry into the origin of languages, nations, and religions. Now, he wrote these books he published these books in 1836, I should say. These books are interesting. He has volume 1 and volume 2. And he also has the Celtic Druids, and he gives you an idea of who these gods are and where they came from. I can tell you right now, from my personal experience, from what I've researched, I'm just gonna check this real quick. Let me check this stuff. Just make sure that all this stuff is working on it, right? But yep, everything is good. Just making sure the audio works, because there was one time, I ain't gonna lie, I went like 30 minutes, and then the last one I had to go edit the YouTube video because I didn't stop the music and all that. Man, it's just, I'm trying to get into it. Once I perfect this stuff, it's I ain't gonna be checking like that, but I try to keep the crowd going as I can. But like I said, just researching everything that I've researched, I can understand where these guys came from. I can tell you right now, the into theory of Africa, of individuals coming into Africa, and then the out of theory Africa ideas it's all amazing to me. But from my personal research, I can back up everything that I say because I've actually had discussions with respectable, honored, and people that I feel like is need to know. So let's look at where I stopped off last time, and this is the next tab that I have. Like I said, I tab every book that I have. Okay, and everything that I talk about comes from these tabs. So if you want to say that I'm wrong in something, don't say that I'm wrong. Say, hey, my source is wrong, and the tab that I'm talking about is wrong. Don't come at me. I'm just telling you what I read. I promote reading like a motherfucker. I think every individual should read a book. And I'm not just talking any kind of book. I'm talking about a book that's going to really create creativity in your mind, meaning that you can create a scenario inside your mind while you're reading. And that's what I do with most of the books. And that's why I wish I had the money of some of these people that call us broke and poor and this, that, and the third, because I would buy these AI programs and get on here and do this, that, and the third, and create. My mind's running faster. That's that TBI that I be talking about. But I would create videos based off of my ability of what I know. And that's what I'm doing. Slowly but surely, you know what I'm saying? I don't have the opportunities to do everything that everybody else gets to do. I'm not trying to sit here and say that I wouldn't like more funds to this stuff. But if you want to promote me, if you want to support me, this is my book. Right now, if you go to it, it's #1 release in prehistory amongst other categories. And those categories get deeper when you go in there. But look, it's #1 out of all these books right here. All these books right here, that's #1. Like I said, I don't have the funds to do what I want. And if you check on iPhone, or I'm not sure on Android, you'll see I'm in different categories of being #1. And it's amazing because you can see right here, I'm number 24 in ancient Mesopotamian history, 32 in prehistory of bestsellers. Okay, this is not new sellers, but this is bestsellers, and 45 in Assyria, Babylonian, and Sumer history. But when you click on this one on your phone and you go to new releases, I'm #1. So that I just want to give a shout out to myself for writing this book. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of myself. I took what I've read, what I've researched, what I've seen in these books, what I've read in these books, and brought it to a place that I call Journey Through the Origins of History. Now, this doesn't mean that what I'm telling you is 100% facts. What I'm telling you is this is my journey through the origins of history. And this is what I've learned. And you can read, you can go on Amazon, you can get the Kindle, or you can get the paperback. You know what I'm saying? But I wrote a book. I created that picture there. There's a symbolism in that book that I'm going to talk about in the future. But these books right here are specific books to the reason why and where I became the journey of what I have. You know what I'm saying? But hey, let's cut all that out, man. I promoted my book enough, you know what I'm saying? But I love promoting. Yes, it puts, you know, um, my works out there, and I appreciate everybody that bought it. But my passion is just sharing what I've learned. So I'm gonna leave this up here. If you want to go ahead and promote. That's all I do. I promote. There you go, that TBI, that brain injury again. But I'm always about reading, and I can tell you, you don't even have to buy this book to understand what I do. I literally have a website, rebirthoftheword.com, and I share, you know, a lot of stuff on my website. I have a YouTube channel, which some people are probably watching in on. I have a lot of stuff, so I love sharing what I share. I love having discussions, but let's just jump into this because this is getting too much. I want to finish this book because we got volume 2 coming up, and I got other books. I'm always constantly doing stuff. You know, I'm out there in the field now, going to the place. Man, let's go ahead and go. Names of Jesus and Io. I will now submit to my I said support. I will now submit to my reader some observations on the origin of the word Jesus and the opinions of different learned men, both on the word itself and on various points connected with it. Here we will find several facts repeated in in a similar manner to what has taken place with the Queen of Heaven, his mother. But I hope the importance of the subject will execute their being. Now, I want to, before I even finish this, you see these blue and red dot books on here. Now, of course, I had to smudge it out a little bit, but because, I don't want to get in trouble for anything. But the red one is The Life of Jesus Christ. It's a 4-part series of books that I own. That's from an individual that I'm going to talk about in the future. And then the blue one, or light color blue, is the one about the Virgin Mary. Now, these books are very respected throughout the Catholic Church and Christian Church and so on and so forth. But I added these in here when I talked about symbolism. This is, okay, my understanding of my journey through the origins of history is that no matter what you talk about when it comes to history, the idea of religion comes into play. No matter how you look, I don't care if you're an atheist, if you hate religion. I know more atheists talk about religion than people who are religious. And that just boggles my mind. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If I don't believe in a God, I'm not gonna talk about him. You know what I'm saying? I might write a book about how somebody might misinterpret who a God is or this, that, and the third. But I'm not gonna waste my all given day on how can you be an atheist if 24 hours a day, or at least 18 hours out of the day, or hell, 10 hours out of the day, your mind is on God. You're not an atheist. You just have this idea of you're trying to find some proof. That's all you're looking for. Then there's no difference than any scientist or anybody that's trying to find a proof for anything. Okay. I don't believe it yet, but I'm damn sure looking for the proof. If I don't believe in something, I'm not. Let me tell you something. If you believe in just a little bit of something, you're going to look for the proof. So I'm sorry to tell you, atheists, if you spend all your days worrying about a freaking Jesus or God or this, that, and the third, sorry to tell you. Let me get some drink. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that's not beer. That's Jaritos. I be drinking the hell out of these mugs. But anyway, if you spend all your time posting, retweeting, resharing, commenting, opinionating about a God and you're an atheist, and it's most of your time, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not that you don't believe in it. You just haven't found the proof of it yet. And that's okay. But don't be mad at me. Be mad at yourself because you don't understand that. In the ancient books of the Jews, we constantly find mention made of the God Jehovah, who ought to be called Jah or Yah or Ieux. This God answered to the person whom the Hindus designate by the name of Krishna, the second person in their Trinity, or their God, the Savior or Preserver, and was he whom the Persians designated by the name of Mithra, the second person in their Trinity, and also their Preserver or Savior, and was whom the Roman Christians designate by the name of Jesus, also the second person in their Trinity and their Savior or Preserver. Now, let me kick you some knowledge with something real quick. All that is still accurate today, even after 1836 when this book was published. I believe it was 1836, but don't quote me on that. Just look it up. Just research what's up. Spiritual level of being. Oh yeah, you definitely getting an autograph copy of Fear. Don't worry about that. The name of this book, Emery, is hold on. Let me hold on. My son just came in here. What's up, buddy? No, it's not, buddy. No, it's not. All right, I'm back. Just had to take care of my little man. But what's interesting is let me show this to what is the name of this book again? So this is the name of the book right here. Let me give you here you go. Godfrey Higgins. Is from the way back in the day. There's it right there. Godfrey Higgins. What's interesting about what I just said about the Queen of Heaven, Mithra, Jesus, and so on and so forth is that Mithra was born December 25th. So if you know who Mithra is, you go to the Iranian mythologies, you'll get your answer. But also with Hindus, but let me point out this real quick. Okay. All right. It says he is called by the Jews Lord of Hosts, God of Sabbath, which means God of the stars and constellations. This name with the Greeks, Romans, and Gentiles in general was understood and meant to designate both the supreme being and the Son Dominus Soul, the Lord of heaven and the heavenly host. So that's just what Godfrey Higgins is. Like I said, if you want more detailed information of what I'm talking about, just hit me up, and I'll definitely let me lower this chat real quick. There we go. I'll get in depth with this. Let's go to the next tab. It now becomes necessary to make a few observations to the Indian linga and the I or yoni, as connected with the celebrated boat of the Hindus called Argha, which I propose to show gave rise among the Greeks to the fables of the above named Argonauts, and so on and so on. In the old philosophy of the Hindus, I have shown that the world was supposed to be destroyed and renewed at the end of a certain period, and this process was supposed to be immense, if not of eternal duration. Now, when people talk about heaven, I'm not sure what they really understand. When I read the book of heaven, when I read the book of Enoch, I read about 10 different heavens. When I read the Bible, I read about how the old world was destroyed and the new world was destroyed. And I also read about how there are different types of heavens. I also know as a Catholic that when you certain sins or when you do certain things, and it just goes on different ideas of what you know. But you can go to a place what's known as a purgatory. You'll spend some time there, and then after that you either might go to heaven or hell, depending on your time served there. But the idea of there being multiple heavens It's interesting because on the 10th heaven, X, T, X marks the spot, is where God resides. Okay, the perfection and all this other stuff. Um, so it's just interesting about that. The mystic ocean in which the ship Archive floated is the ethereal space or fluid called firmament, in which the bodies of the planetary systems revolve. The arc or the Arga, the ship with its Mount Meru in the center by the way of the mass, may be seen in every temple of India and requires no explanation. Now, look, let me break this down for you. The mystic ocean, now, a lot of people don't understand this, but space has water. Okay. Air has water. Oxygen has water. It's not in the form of liquid. Okay. You have liquid solids and you have different ones. But let me break this down to you. The mystic ocean in which the ship Arga floated is the ethereal space or fluid called the firmament, okay, in which the bodies of the planetary systems revolve, okay, meaning that the celestial objects, Mars, Jupiter, Sun, or Mars, Jupiter, the Moon, Saturn, so on and so forth, they revolve around the earth. Now that doesn't right here say it excludes the sun. Now there was a difference if you know understanding. I'm not going to jump in details on it, but you got the geocentric and you got the heliocentric ideas. Anybody that's knowledgeable on that understands what I'm talking about. If you don't, write that down real quick. Heliocentric, geocentric, and research that. You understand what I'm talking about. That's where we get the ideas of the description of flat earth or the globe earth. And I'm not going to go into details on that because that's what I'm talking about. But because of my knowledge of that, I understand what that paragraph means on the firmament. Okay, because everybody that says when it talks about the firmament that there's certain things like flat earth and so on and so on and all this other stuff. Here we go, my homie, spiritual level of being. He in Gnosticism, we have higher realms, higher and lower heaven, each ruled by their own eon of the archon. Now that's true. That's where you get the Greeks mythology, so on and so forth, or what is it? Not just Greek, Romans, and Norse mythology. Anybody that plays God of War know what I'm talking about. So I just want to give you an idea of what that, but with its Mount Mirror in the center by way of Mots. Now you can take that how you want to take that, but that's just part of it. Let's go to the next tab that I have. Athanas says that Susan was a Greek word for lily and that the name of the city Susa meant that the city of lilies. This is very remarkable as it was the capital of the Cushites or Ethiopians. But the lotus of the Nile and Ganges or Ganges was, I believe, dark blue, which sometimes was the color of Krishna, but he was as often black as blue. Now, I've already talked about the Krishna, and Christ. A lot of people already shared in their past that they believe they're one and the same. And a lot of people say that they were black skin with dark skin like mine, light brown or dark black skin. Now, I have an article coming about black and the idea of what black is and so on and so forth in the next few weeks. But when Godfrey Higgins wrote this back in the day, it still holds up today because if you look up at the artifacts of Krishna, he is usually depicted as black or blue skin. Now, what I've learned is that blue is also synonymous for black. That's what I've learned. Now, if you can prove me wrong by any means, show me. I don't mind. I don't have anywhere to go right now. We're only 34 minutes in, so go ahead and Google it and tell me if is blue synonymous for black and tell me if I'm wrong on that. But what I just read, I believe dark blue, in which sometimes was the color of Krishna, but he was often black as blue. Okay. So I'm just going to just go with that. I'm just telling you what I've read. You can go with that. When somebody says or asks me, or when we're in the X space or in conversation of any type, if somebody says, "Hey, do you know who Krishna is?" I say, "Yeah, I know who Krishna is. He's also known as Krishna. Some people also believe that he's Christ, and he is also known as having blue skin, which is oftentimes synonymous for having black skin, which why some people believe that he has melanin, dark light brown to dark black dark brown skin. And being mad at me for saying that would just shows your ignorance, because I can tell you that I've read it from a book. And if I'm wrong, tell me and show me where I can be proven where I'm wrong. Until then, I'm going to go with the information that I have on hand. For what I have said in my Celtic Druids on the subject of the telescope, gunpowder, the mariner's compass, and other examples of learning of the ancients, as might well be expected, I have turned into ridicule by ignorant, narrow-minded persons whose understanding permit them to see no further, either behind or before them, the length of their noses. However, the doctrine of the advocate has been placed above the reach of the cavil by Sir W. Drummond in the 19th volume of the Classical Journal, page 297. Now, he's giving sources, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to keep going with this because I want you to understand that. If you haven't read what I've read, then don't tell me that I'm wrong. Just understand that I'm sharing something that you may have never even been able to get knowledge on, but knowledge is power. So let's just keep rolling with that. Among the matters, he there observes that we are not to laugh at the powers which the ancients claim to possess, because we do not possess them ourselves. And he instances the burning of the Roman ships by the mirror of Archimedes, which was not believed to be the possible till it was successfully imitated by Buffon in the hatching of eggs in now listen, and the hatching of eggs in an oven in Egypt, which was laughed at till imitated by Renner, in which I have been told and now is now commonly practiced in breeding poultry for the London market. Now, eggs is a very important thing, because guess what just came up and just popped up recently? Whistleblowers and the eggs and all this other stuff. So when I say that, I'm talking about ancient history, and I'm sitting here telling you guys that ancient history is repeating itself and you guys are not understanding it. This is what I mean. This is a book from 1836. Godfrey Higgins. Research what he is. I'm not coming up with this out the back of my mind and just out of nothing. I'm reading from the actual book, people. Book. Let's keep it going. Roger Bacon believed in the possible transmutation of the baser metals into gold, and his reasoning amounted to this. Since carriages have been moved without the aid of animals, since boats have been impelled through the water without oars or sails, since men have been transported through the air, since very distant and very minute objects may be made perfectly clear to vision by means of glasses, and since the effects of thunder have been produced by grain, and it says a few grains of powder, how can it be contended that the transmutation of metals is impossible? Classical Journal volume, I want to say it says 19. Page 303, from this most extraordinary exhibition of the words of this most celebrated natural philosopher or alchemist or magician or judicial astrologer, I feel very little doubt that among the ancient priests or astrologers, all these secrets were known, and that from his books of the occult sciences, he came by the information that these important secrets were formerly known, though perhaps only known to a very few of the heads of secret order, guarded as Masonic secrets, and consequently in later times lost. Now, that's interesting to me. Now, let me just make sure something, because I just want to keep making sure this audio working, because like I said, this stuff keeps coming up. Yep. All right, so now let me tell you, when I talk about the telescope, a lot of people talk about, well, the telescope was invented at a certain period of time, and I'll let you research that. But just reading this part where it says on the first sentence, for what I have said in my Celtic Druids on the subject of the telescope, gunpowder, the mariner's compass, I can tell you right now, I have the Celtic Druids, and I will be talking, and I've done a YouTube video on that. But just to know that it talks about eggs, and everything that is talked about today is still talked about thousands of years ago. I don't understand why people don't go and research the actual stuff. Let me read what it says about eggs again, because we, like I said, which was not to believe to be till it was successfully imitated by a buffoon in the hatching of eggs in an oven in Egypt. Now, who puts eggs in the oven? Nobody, right? So, in reality, you have to understand something. All this stuff that we're being shown today, all you have to do is just pick up books and read them. I'm pretty sure most people don't know about this, but they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, we're all about extraterrestrials and we're all about this, that, and third." But you're not asking people who are giving you the information, and there's not that many people that can do it. The Egyptians had two gods called Apis and Nevis, Bevis. The first was the male, the second the female. From this called Neve or Nave, that is the Argo. That was just a little side note that it had on there. Let's go to the next tab. These rivers were also called Kaishu, Baja, Sita, and Ganga. In the Hindu language, in the country between the two of the rivers was called Duab or Duab. It's spelled two different ways. One is Douab, and the other one is Duaub. Like Mesopotamia, in like manner, the rivers Euphrates and Tigris were supposed to flow from the Ararat and Paradise, but still one of them was thought to be the river of the Ganges, which flowed underground from India, that appeared at the foot of the Armenian mountains, and they formed likewise a Mesopotamia. The Nile also was supposed to be the Euphrates, which by underground channel was conveyed into Africa. I see, look, all those connections. I keep telling you, all those connections. It has been said that the celebrated Dr. Bentley wrote a treatise to prove that the Iliad and Odyssey were written by Solomon, king of Israel. All this shit that I'm telling you guys, all this stuff that I read, all this information that I'm sharing, man, come on, man. Let's say that one time. It has been said that the celebrated Dr. Bentley wrote a treatise to prove that the Iliad and Odyssey were written by Solomon, king of Israel. Man, I just be coming with that fire. The first name of Ulysses before he came to be styled Hodicus was ancient navigators. Wait, let me see. Hold on. Let me see. That, hold on, let me make sure. Was, okay, hold on. Let me say that again. The first name of Ulysses before he came to the style Hodicus was Nanus, and the first name of St. Patrick was Nanus. So St. Patrick's name was basically Nanus. So when you hear St. Patrick's, N-A-N-N-U-S, and it's so funny about that because the article that I just did about the color black, and because I live in Georgia, and most people who are Caucasian white individuals in Georgia have Irish ancestry, Savannah, Georgia being one of the most famous St. Patrick's parade out there, I am definitely going to start sharing that Nanus was St. Patrick's original name. Man, I'm just telling you what I read, man. Prove me wrong. Augustus was also a mystical name given to the princes by the Egyptians. I suspect Julius was Caesar's family sacred name, what we call Christian name. Caesar was a name he assumed as conqueror of Gaul, and Augustus was assumed by his successor as prince of Egypt. Well, we shall understand this hereafter. Man, he gets in deep in there. Let's go to the next tab. Nimrod. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. I already know a lot about Nimrod. I'm definitely going to get into that, and I can tell you right now, Nimrod is also known as Gilgamesh to some people. Hey, so spiritual level of being says the Sumerian had magic mushrooms they called the flesh of the gods. The Israelites used the cannabis. Now, spiritual level, if you still with us, hey, what's that Mexican cult that talks about mushrooms? And Jesus being the special mushroom? I know you know about that. We actually did a discussion on that. Bring Talk about that, the Mexican cult that you used, that you was telling me about. So we wait for him to give me that information. We're gonna go with, all right. When Scipio Africanus aspired to be the tyrant of his country, similar story was told of his mother and of him. But the Romans discovered his object and he was banished for it. He failed. His mother was said to have been impregnated by a serpent creeping over her body when she was asleep. In the same manner, Anna, the mother of the Virgin Mary, was said in one of the Superior's gospel histories to have been impregnated when an infant of only 3 or 4 years old by the Holy Ghost in the form of a serpent creeping over her body when asleep, the produce of which was Mary, the mother of Jesus. And as Jesus was in like manner the produce of the Holy Ghost, they declare Mary to be both the mother and the daughter of God. The serpent was the emblem of divine wisdom, equally in India, Egypt, and Greece. God damn, boy, I be sharing some good stuff, don't I? I be sharing some good stuff, don't I? I know Wesley Huff would be like, man, you wrong. But I'd be like, hey, Godfrey Higgins, man. Godfrey Higgins. Manetho, no, this is a sacred book in the Grand Egyptian Library. Smartius said to be written by Pharaoh Suphis. This is Pharaoh the Wise. This was probably a similar book to the Athenians. No doubt every division of the universal religion had its secret and sacred writing, as well as the Jews, only they were never made public and thus were lost. Let's keep it going. This shows us why the Israelites were peculiar people in the midst of nations of enemies on every side, hating all nations except the Persians, who in the time of Cyrus and Ahasuerus were of their own religion, and who, without minding their domestic feud, restored a temple both on Gerizim and Jerusalem. Man, that's crazy. Some people are like, man, I don't understand that. You got to read the Bible to understand something. I'm gonna tell you, I wish I could read these books and explain a lot of this stuff in the books, because it gets really in depth. But I'm trying to spike your interest. Why did I say what I say? Go research it, and you'll be like, what the hell? But yeah, a South American and Mexican cult, but the Gnostics had the mushrooms before them. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Here we go. Some Catholics believe that the magic mushroom was the forbidden fruit, remember, from old Gnostic belief. Yeah. It has been appeared to me in an extraordinary circumstance that the God of Moses should be called by the same names as the God of the Gentiles, Adonis and Baal. For instance, I have read that the Jews count in the Bible 32 names of God, but I believe in no case whatever will he be found by the name of one of their goddesses. Though he is called Baal, he is not called Baaltis. If I be right, this is easily accounted for. When Abraham arrived in Canaan, the Ionian hearsay did not prevail, and he had no objection to his God being called after the names of the gods of the single male principle, or perhaps of the double principle, but he utterly rejected Ionism and the adultery, its generally commitment, into which Canaan or Syria fell between the time of his tribe going into Egypt and returning as the Hebrew text after upwards of 400 years. I'm just sharing what has been said. Let's see. It is admitted that Abraham and Brahma are the same. Now, I'm going to just tell you this. Oh, my God. I'm about to piss off a lot of people. When I talk about the Abrahamic faith, I always talk about the Abrahamic faith a lot. It is admitted that Abraham and Brahma are the same. Therefore, the Hindus must have come from Abraham, or the Israelites from Brahma. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you what I read. Meru, with its 3 peaks on the summit and its 7 steps, includes and encompasses really the whole world according to the notions of the Hindus and other nations, previously to their being acquainted with the globular shape of the earth. Globular shape of the earth, 18 36, y'all. Mr. Franklin says another striking instance is recorded by very intelligent traveler Wilson regarding a representation of the fall of our first parents, sculptured in the magnificent temple of Apsamble in Nubia. He says that a very exact representation of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden is to be seen in that cave, and that the serpent climbing around the tree is especially delineated in the whole subject of the tempting of our first parents, most accurately exhibited. We will now examine the name of some of the states and cities in India, and in them I think we shall find conclusive proofs of the place where Judaism came from, probably along with it the first written language. I'm just sharing what Godfrey Higgins wrote in 1836. There's an account of the Hyperborean called Abaris that he came into Greece carrying in his hand the arrow of Apollo, which served him as a passport through all countries. In the mountains of Solomon are found a tribe of people called Judones, Judoons, that is Judeans, and a place called Gosa, that is called, also known as Gaza, and a people called Jodarans, Jadrauns, and another called Jujis, Jews. The mountains of Solomon or Salzman have this name in the old books, though they are not commonly known at this time by it. These mountains are higher than the Andes. One of the mountains of the chain is called Safayat Ku. So, yo, you just don't have to pick up this book and read it if you really want to get a deep understanding. I'm just giving you snippets. Like, I'm like the trailer to a great movie. You know what I'm saying? That's what I am. Take this by itself, and the fact would be little consequence, but could be a couple with all the other circumstances, with the names of the towns which I have pointed out, and I defy the unprejudiced reader to divest his mind of a strong suspicion that Jerusalem of the West is the Jerusalem of East, or vice versa. I don't know why. So Jesulmer changed into Jerusalem is nothing but an example of the practice called Demaru, or changing, of the tribe of Iodi of writing words in the way of called anagram. I don't know how to say that word. The meaning of Jerusalem in the sacred ladder in Hebrew and Chaldee, the Mount climax of Strabo in Asia Minor, was called Mount Solemn or Solomon by the natives. Let's see. All right, Mount Solomon, Mount Kabbalah, Mount Olympus, Afghans, Turks, Afghans speak Chaldea, Pushtu, and Hebrew. Okay, so yeah, this is one. Turks who conquered the Arabians or Syrians in modern times have in great measure adopted their language. Yeah, we know a lot of people adopted a lot of language. It is very evident from the accounts of both Dr. Drawn and Elfson that the whole of the fine country Duab or Mesopotamia, from the Ganges to the Indies and the whole valley of the latter, were once possessed by a race, the unconquered mountain tribes of which alone retain much of their ancient habits. Certain circumstances of natural similarity between the places of the settlement of the Ayudi in India and Western Syria may be observed, which raises suspicion that similarity was the occasion of the selection of the place where the immigrating Ayudi or Ayudai settled when they came to the West, in Afghanistan or the Kingdom of Kabul. Several histories of the Afghans have been written by Persians and other Mohammedans, but all evidently intended to serve religious purposes, and consequently, owing to their innate and probable absurdity, not deserving a moment's consideration. Now that's just interesting that that's put that way, because everybody that talks about Afghanistan, how many people that are actually Afghani talk about themselves. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. There's gonna be definitely a part 4. There's a lot to this book. We're gonna keep going and going until this is all done. I'll probably do some more tomorrow, but let's see what spiritual level being says regarding Malak Ba. Something it's child sacrifice. Yep. True that. Oh yeah, look at it. Yeah, but yeah, we're gonna continue this. I don't try to make these too long. Attention spans get out the way. But check out my book, Journey Through the Origins of History. #1 in so many different categories. Show your support. If you want to jump in on these discussions, let me know. I'm thinking about doing a late night show since I'm not sleeping. So it could be anywhere from midnight to about 6 o'clock in the morning and any time between that. But if you can't catch me live, you can definitely catch me on YouTube. Just Rebirth of the Word. It's not hard to find me. I'm plastered myself, and I promote myself enough to know that it's me. But I appreciate y'all coming in. We're going to continue this tomorrow. Y'all take it easy.